Hello YouTube and Pokemon fans. Today I want to talk about IVs or individual values of Pokemon in Pokemon Go. But first, let's take a look at some of the changes in the most recent update. So Niantic brought back Pokemon locations. You can see this by clicking on a Pokemon and scrolling down to the bottom. This was an original feature which was then later removed and now added back in. What was the purpose of this? We're not quite sure just yet. However, the update did include the location of Pokemon that hatch from eggs. So there was some speculation regarding how this worked. The location of that Pokemon is from where you picked up the egg and not where their Pokemon hatched. So that's just one part of the update. The other part is they've added new animation for putting eggs in incubators, which looks pretty cool. One other change that has happened recently is the nerfing of battling in gyms. And by nerfing, I mean they've added a buffer to the attack system. So for those players that were spam tapping the screen, you'll now have a delay until the next move. So if you want to dodge, but you've been spamming the attack, you'll have to wait for all those attacks to finish before you can dodge. Hence a buffering system. This improves gym battling in the long term. So there is just a small learning curve to adapt to the new battling system. It doesn't take long to get used to it. So plan your battles. The final change in this new update is an improvement to the Pokemon Go Plus. You can now catch a Pokemon that spawn from incense. So that rounds up the updates. Pokemon in Pokemon Go have base stats. These are attack, defense and stamina, but each individual Pokemon have their own individual values, or IVs. Now these IVs range from 0 to 15, with 0 being the worst and 15 being the best. So for those players looking for the end game, getting a 15, 15, 15 across the board is very important. As you can see on the screen now, there's Alakazam and Mewtwo. Now these have attack, defense, special defense and speed. Both special attack and special defense were later added in the later versions of the game, but this was originally just called special. Speed is however not included in the individual values. So what would it look like to have perfect IVs on your Pokemon? Well, it would look 15, 15, 15. And the worst would be 0, 0, 0. But a majority of your Pokemon will have a mixture of IVs, which could include low attack, high defense and high stamina. Or that Pokemon could have high attack but low defense and a medium stamina. Or your Pokemon could have no attack, high defense and a low stamina. Your Pokemon could have a mixture of any IVs between 0 and 15. So how do we check a Pokemon's IVs? Well, we can use the appraisal system. The appraisal system allows us to check our Pokemon stats, which is read out by our team leader. So for me, I'm Team Instinct and this is Spark, and he's telling me the IV potential of my Gyarados. Now each Pokemon have different IVs, so these messages change depending on the IVs of a certain Pokemon. But what do all these messages mean? So if your Pokemon is rated between 82.2% to 100% perfect IVs, you'll see the following messages. For Instinct it would be overall your Pokemon looks like it can really battle with the best of them. Valor would say overall your Pokemon simply amazes me, it can accomplish anything. And for Team Mystic it would say overall your Pokemon is a wonder, what a breathtaking Pokemon. This will identify that your Pokemon has near perfect IVs. But what if you don't see those messages? It'll simply mean that your Pokemon's rating is slightly lower. So if your team leader says overall your Pokemon is really strong, or they say overall your Pokemon is a strong Pokemon, you should be proud, or they say overall your Pokemon has certainly caught my attention, you'll know that its IVs are between 66 to 80%. But what if you don't see these messages? Well again, it just means your IVs are even lower. So you'll know your Pokemon's IV rating is between 51 to 64%. So it's probably worth trading these Pokemon in for candy. But further still, what if you don't even see any of these messages? It means your Pokemon's IV ratings are even less. So for me personally, a lot of wild Pokemon I catch, I always see overall your Pokemon has room for improvement as far as battling, which means I just trade it in for candy. So now using the information we've just seen, we can go back and take a look at my Gyarados. So first off we'll go back to the appraisal system and see what Spark tells me for my first line. He first says overall your Gyarados looks like it can really battle with the best of them, which we know now means that my Gyarados is between 82 to 100% perfect IVs. The next thing he mentions is which has the best IV. Now this can be one IV, two IVs or all three IVs. This is based on the highest IV that you have. So if attack was its highest IV, it will say its best quality is its attack. But in the case of this Gyarados, it mentions all three stats, which means all IVs are exactly the same. Now, the last message Spark gives us will help us identify what number those IVs are. So, if it was a 15, it would say its stats are the best I've ever seen, no doubt about it. For Valor, it would say I'm blown away by its stats, wow. And for Team Mystic, it would say its stats exceed my calculations, it's incredible. However, if your IVs are between 13 and 14, it would say its stats are really strong, impressive. It's got excellent stats, how exciting, and I'm certainly impressed by its stats, I must say. So what if you don't see any of these messages? It just means that your IV levels are just more average. So between 8 and 12 it's definitely got some good stats, definitely. For Team Valor, it would say its stats indicate that in battle it'll get the job done. And for Team Mystic, its stats are noticeably trending in the positive. So if you didn't see any of those previous messages, it would indicate that your IVs are between 0 and 7, which means it's not going to be very useful for any battling and would probably be best traded for candy. So what's the best way to clarify what Spark told us? So the guys over at Silph Road have built a really good IV rater. We're going to test it with some of our Pokemon. Okay, so I've loaded up the Silph Road. Let's head over to the IV rater. Now we click on the Pokemon and we select the Pokemon we want to rate. In this case is Gyarados. Okay, so Gyarados is now our selected species. What we need to do is move our trainer level up to our current trainer level and then scroll down and move the slider arc to the CP of our Pokemon. In this case is 1536. So I simply move the slider until the CP is in range. What is important when moving the arc is to make sure that you match your Stardust and Candy with that of the power up button of your Pokemon. So in this case 2500 and 2 Candy. This helps give a more accurate rating of your Pokemon. So once you find the correct arc position for your Pokemon based on its CP, you'll need to head down to the next 2 sliders, which is the CP slider and the HP slider. Now this is pretty straightforward, just move the slider up till it matches the CP of your Pokemon, and the same with the health points or HP. Then just simply click Rate My Pokemon. And as you can see from the results, this Gyarados has perfect IVs, which perfectly matches what Spark told us about this Gyarados. So what does IVs do to Pokemon Go? Well, not much. When it comes to battling, the individual values give you a 10% boost on your base stat. And that's about it for now. We have no more information about the individual values. But what if the Pokemon doesn't have perfect IVs? So let's check out another Pokemon. I'm going to pick my Vaporeon. I'm going to just move the arc to match the CP. And I'm also going to appraise him to see what Spark tells me about him. So I can already see that this Vaporeon is between 66% to 80% IVs, so not perfect IVs. His best individual value is his attack, so potentially his attack is 15. So I'm just moving the slider across to match the CP. And I'm just going to do the same with its HP. Clearly having problems with the sliders. And then just going to click Rate My Pokemon. So it was obvious I made a mistake with the arc, as 106% is not possible. So I just have to go back and reset it. So I'm just going to click Rate Another Pokemon. And then just move the arc slightly. So as you can see, all of them are set correctly, but there was 2 options for this Vaporeon in the arc, so I just moved it up slightly, rated it, and we got a better result. Now this result says that this Vaporeon is 92% in battle, so the results are not always perfect from Silph Road. So what I want to do now is just check another Pokemon, so I'm going to pick Pikachu. Just going to set the arc position to his CP, which is almost there, and I'm just going to check for the Candy, make sure it fits perfectly with the Candy and the Stardust. Just change the CP on the slider to match this Pikachu, and the same with the HP. Okay, and rate my Pokemon. Okay, so I didn't show you guys the appraisal, but this pretty much matches up with what Spark told me. So I recommend you go to Silph Road and check your IVs of your Pokemon. So what have we learned today? Pokemon Go has a hidden mechanic called individual values, which can help increase your Pokemon by 10% in battles. getting perfect IVs on your Pokemon means its attack, defense and stamina would all be 15. If you want to use your Pokemon for battling gyms, then pick a percentage, potentially 80% or up, to keep. Trade the rest of your Pokemon for candy. We've learned how to check our IVs using Sylph Road, and I'd like to give a shout out to Sylph Road. Well done guys, you're doing a really good job. And I'd also like to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you've got any questions about this video, leave a comment below, and keep on gaming. Candy for Pokemon you wish to power up, or collect candy for a Pokemon that you wish to evolve. Now if you're like me, I collect candy to evolve my Pokemon to complete the Pokedex. But some people want to power up their Pokemon to battle in gyms. But we can talk about that in another video. So bye now.